If there's anything that should be learned from this late great Virgil, is you just shouldn't limit yourself based off of the lanes that other people have built. Virgil Abloh passed away on Sunday, November 28th. He was a visionary, a fashion icon, and his star was still rising when he succumbed to cancer. I was already writing a piece on the relationship between goals and inspiration when I read the news on Twitter. So at that point, I decided to scrap what I had and rewrite it and try to pay some homage to Virgil. It's just a super inspirational person to a lot of people, including myself. I remember when I started to see the influence Virgil was having on communities. I'm blessed to be able to speak in schools, mostly black schools, and I would always ask kids what they wanted to be. Virgil kind of got on the scene and was popping, and Off-White was kind of everywhere. I started seeing like little black girls and black boys like say, I want to be like Virgil. I want to dominate streetwear and be a part of hip hop culture and do all kind of dope stuff. They really was talking about the creative freedom that this man had. This man was admired by everybody from Anna Wintour to being name checked by Drake and, you know, his former mentor, you know, Kanye West and all these other like hip hop acts that really looked to this dude for their look. Serena Williams designed, you know, her tennis outfit. He was designing covers. I mean, he was really living life out here. We wanted to make sure we honored him. And just in these tips, I think these are some things that he followed. If you kind of follow who he was, just from watching his journey and listening to him speak when he did, I think he'd be in line with these. Let's really talk about turning a dream into a vision and that vision into a set of goals, you know, that leads to the things that you were dreaming about in the end. It's a cycle. So number one, stick to your vision. Like, you gotta be willing to stick to your vision even when others don't understand it or support it. That's gonna be a thing. Just get ready for that. First, you gotta name that vision, and then you gotta set goals that will lead you to accomplishing that vision. I'm sure that this brother, much like most people that are like highly successful, hit a bunch of roadblocks along the way and wanted to be something where there just wasn't a very clear roadmap. It's gotta be very difficult for a kid in Chicago to dream about one day leading fashion houses. He must have been met with a lot of resistance. And if not necessarily all out resistance, it must have been a lot of people that really didn't latch on to his vision or his dream around that stuff. And you gotta work through those people. You gotta work through that doubt. You gotta stick to your vision. Write it down. Like I said, set goals that will like end up leading towards that. I remember talking to my coach. He was checking on me with my goals, and I was kind of complaining. I was just like, man, I just can't find my footing. And he said, you know, trailblazers don't have footing. They don't have paths. They're trailblazing. They're blazing paths. They're building paths that other people will be able to follow on, but they don't have the luxury of having that path. You gotta be willing to forge a path, you know, for that vision and for that goal that you set for yourself. But in order to do that, the number one rule is you gotta stick to your vision. And you know, and God willing, at some point, if you stick to that vision, there will be other people behind you that get to benefit from the path that you've carved out for them. Number two, you gotta work your butt off, man. Like, you gotta get out there and work for it. I know there's a lot of conflicting internet outlets that's arguing grinding, hustle culture versus getting more rest. And listen, take from those what you will. Take from this what you will, right? The one thing that's clear is you gotta work at it. Anybody that you see that's successful that you admire, there was a level of work that they put in. You gotta be willing to build your skills. You gotta be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. You gotta figure that part out for you, right? You know, what does that work consist of for you to build your skill set as you go along the way? Like, that's really your work to do. Nobody can really even tell you how to fully do that, especially if you have like a very niche vision. Number three, don't stress over lanes. You know, like, stay in your lane and all that. Like, I get it, and that has its place, but you just shouldn't limit yourself based off of the lanes that other people have built. This brother was taking different parts of culture and couture and all this stuff that didn't necessarily easily fit together. When you see this man dealing streetwear and hip hop and then Louis and Nike and album covers, and you see the visions and goals like just transcend lanes when you're true to it. Virgil didn't believe in lanes. Steve Jobs didn't believe in lanes. Oprah definitely didn't believe in lanes. Serena Williams doesn't believe in lanes. Like, the agentic lesson is, don't limit your vision, your goals to a lane. Anyway, the entrepreneur today is Renaissance. They are the very definition of Renaissance. I like writing reports, and I like doing research and doing things in my community, but I also like making these shirts and stuff. Like, it's fun for me. It's a creative outlet, but I'm also not limiting myself to lanes, if that makes sense. Listen, man, it just sucks losing so many of our just super inspiring individuals, especially in our Black community. They help us see what's possible. Part of why I post so much, despite not really loving social media, to be very honest, is because I know there's a younger version of me that really needs to see it. Like, I really needed to see this type of stuff when I was younger. I felt like I didn't have a lot of people that I could talk to. I moved so much, and, friendships were always really new, or they were changing, or, I only got like a few close-knit friends. Like I said, I went to 11 schools. So, but sharing these journeys and seeing these people like a Virgil or whomever, I don't know, man, it's really impactful. I think kids need to see that part. I think younger me's need to see that part. But I do wish I had this type of access early on. Like, if I could see a Rich Paul as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I would have followed my first dream, which was to be a sports agent. Jerry Maguire was like my favorite movie, man. Like, I've said this before, but he might as well have been Batman, Bruce Wayne. Like, he didn't exist in real life, not in my world. Let's just recap the 3 tips that you can do. 1, you got to stick to your vision. You just got to, 2, work your butt off. You gotta, if you care about this thing, you dedicated to it, you gotta put in that sweat equity. Nobody else can really do that for you. And 3, don't stress over lanes. Create your own. You get to create your own tables. A lot of people that don't want me at their tables, I just do my best to make my own. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's all part of the process. Rest in peace to Virgil, man. You changed the world for just so many people. Just so many. That, man, very somberly, y'all be smooth. Peace. The better question is, are you okay with failing? Are you okay with losing? If you can answer those things as yes, then I would say run like hell. Start running right now. Stop waiting for folks.